Hey, little kids, families, and teachers. I just have a few little update things before we come back to church this coming Sunday, July 5th. This particular video will not address the issue of masks because we are still awaiting state and county guidance, and I am waiting also to hear from church leadership. And when I hear from Derek and Jonathan, then I will certainly pass on information to you as soon as possible. But this video is going to just talk about a few things that you might need to know. For parents, first I want to talk about entry into the building. We will have a sign out front that says, please wait for a greeter. I am asking that just 2 families at a time come into the preschool foyer this week. And really that's just because I only have 2 greeters, myself and 1 other person this Sunday. And we are the only ones that are going to touch the computer to check you in. And so I just want 2 families at a time. After we check you in and take your child's temperature, then we will print off the tags for you, give them to you, and send you down to your classroom. I ask that you drop your kids off at the door. I know there will be a few exceptions, and that's fine, but as much as possible, drop your child off at the door. Don't enter into the classroom, just to observe that social distance awareness. Drop your kids off and then move quickly to your Sunday school room or to service so you're out of that hallway. When a family leaves the foyer, then a greeter will come get the next family and allow them in and start their check-in process. Children will get hand sanitizer if they're old enough, and then they'll move into their classroom. If you take temperature at home, that's fine too. Just tell us what it was. It needs to be less than 100.4, according to CDC guidelines. Another issue is pickup. Just please, when you're picking up your children, have your security tag ready to go and stay at the door. As much as possible, observe your social distance. I know it's going to be kind of difficult in our hallways, but please just honor that space and do the best that you can. And we appreciate that. For teachers, I know that several of you have asked about how do you do social distancing in a preschool classroom, and the fact is preschoolers aren't really socially distant aware, and that's okay and developmentally appropriate. One way to help, though, if you are doing story time or your lesson when you're in a group time, you can have kids stand and make airplane arms and don't touch each other, but just spread your arms out and be an airplane, and then say, okay, let's land our planes, and everybody sits down exactly where they are, and that way they're spread out a little bit farther than they normally would be. You could also spread out chairs a little farther if you're at the table for snack time. And speaking of snack time, we will do snacks, but you'll take a package of snacks to your classroom, and you'll just keep it in your classroom. Instead of us refilling a container every week, we'll just give you the container and you just keep that for your classroom each week. Another way you can help kids wash their hands a little more thoroughly is by giving them a stamp on their hands, or just one hand, or you can do both, and tell them, wash your hands until all of the stamp is gone. And that way it just takes a little bit longer, and hopefully they're washing just a little bit more thoroughly. That's another thing. Another thing, a common concern that we've talked about is Play-Doh. Play-Doh, you should have already gotten rid of all your Play-Doh. I think most of you have. If you haven't, please do get rid of that. And then if you bring in new Play-Doh, totally fine. But just if it's homemade Play-Doh, give each child an individual chunk and then put it in a bag and label it with their name, and that's their Play-Doh that only they use. Be sure to make enough for visitors, and then once we have a visitor, put their name on it. If they come back, great. If they don't come back for a few weeks, then we'll just need to get rid of that Play-Doh. Another suggestion I've heard is either individual school boxes or even just an individual Ziploc bag of supplies for older kids, like scissors, glue, markers, crayons, that sort of thing, and write their name on the bag, and that's just their bag of supplies until they need new supplies. And be sure to have enough for visitors again. But that's one thing you can do. If you don't want to do that or you don't have time, you will need to sanitize everything with the spray that we have. And speaking of spray, we do have some new cleaning procedures, and that involves cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. So first of all, for 9:30, you will have a green microfiber cloth, and that is used for cleaning. So you can use it like a dust rag to clean things off, but if there's like dirt particles or just, things that need to be cleaned, then you need to use soap and water and clean that off. And then we'll have a laundry basket where you can put that microfiber cloth after the 9:30 hour, and we'll launder that and get it back to you the next week. After you've cleaned, though, you will need to sanitize, and we have a spray called Sanidate. It's recommended by the EPA for use in early childhood classrooms. It's non-bleach, and it has a dwell time of 5 minutes. Kids need to be, after kids leave the room, you would just spray every surface, and you can just let it sit there, and it needs to sit for at least 5 minutes on surfaces. You'll still continue to wash toys if they've been in mouths or anything like that, but that is how you use the Sanidate. And then the other newer thing is when children use the bathroom, most of our classrooms have the Jack and Jill bathrooms, so you'll need to wear gloves, and after they're done in the bathroom, please wipe down the toilet seat and wipe down the faucets. Right now, we're just using Lysol or Clorox wipes. When the more early childhood friendly wipes come back in stock, I will purchase some of those, but I think everybody in the country wants those right now, and so they're not available. The Clorox is just fine, but the new ones that we'll get are a non-bleach alternative. But please do that. And then if you are changing diapers, you'll still use the diaper changing table, but wipe down that surface if you're not already with a Lysol or Clorox wipe as well. And then at 11 o'clock, it's the same thing, but you will have a yellow microfiber cloth instead of a green one. And we will launder all those each week and bring them back to the classroom for the next week. Okay, well, that was a quick update. I will, of course, be at church on Sunday and be happy to answer any questions you have. Most of all, just remember to be flexible and gracious towards others, and look to Jesus as your only hope and truth in this life. And I look forward to seeing each of you and serving with you again, because I miss you all tremendously, but we'll see you soon.